Ashvini is at the beginning of the traditional sidereal Rashi scheme. So it spans from 0 degrees through 13 degrees, 20 minutes of the first sidereal Rashi, which today is from 24 degrees and 6 minutes of Aries through 7 degrees, 26 minutes of Taurus. Ashvini is a Kshipra Nakshatra, as are Hasta and Pushya. These nakshatras are quick, light, and easy. The name Ashvini means horses. The symbol of this nakshatra is horses. And the gods of this nakshatra are also called horses, or at least horse riders. They're called the Ashvinis. Key traits of Ashvini are that it's fast and it's beautiful. Just think of a horse. A horse is fast and a horse is beautiful. Now, fast means quick. Quick means easy, gets done fast, gets accomplished. And easy and quick also means intelligent and efficient. So these are key traits. It's fast, quick, free, intelligent, and efficient. And as for beauty, beauty means enjoyable, and beauty means healthy, and healthy means strong. So there are your key traits for Ashvini. The moon in Ashvini has all of these traits. Mercury in Ashvini has all of these traits multiplied. Jupiter has all of these traits multiplied too, and just add in this undertone of all of them having a moral character or an honest character. Venus, it adds this element of having racy romance. The sun in Ashvini, it's very, very healthy and strong, but it's a little bit of a problem with a quickness or slowness, too quick or too slow. Mars will also multiply the traits of Ashvini, but a little bit too much. Too much emphasis on freedom, too much emphasis on speed, etc. And Rahu does the same thing, but a lot more. So there's a lot too much quickness, unsteadiness, desire for freedom, etc. And then there's Saturn and Ketu. Saturn in Ashvini is going to really promote the intellectual side of it. It's going to make very logical, systematically efficient intellect, and a sober intellect. And it's also going to give a type of strength, an enduring strength. But it's going to indicate a lot of slowness or feeling of restriction, lack of freedom, and illness. And Ketu is going to do the same thing. But it's going to, instead of that logical intellect, it's going to give this penetrative, inventive, amazing intellect. And instead of the systematic efficiency, it's going to give like a compulsive efficiency. It's not going to have the problem of the speed that Saturn has there. It's going to give like this mystical speed. But it is going to also give a feeling of lack of freedom and a problem of health. Now, the tales of the Ashvini gods really illustrate all of these traits of the Ashvini Nakshatra. In all the stories of the Ashvinis, we really see how they enjoy beauty and health and perform all kinds of medical marvels and miracles to improve the health and beauty of others. So let's look at how they were born. They were born when the sun and the clouds, Surya and Sharanyu, took the form of horses to make love. So right from the very beginning, their story is connected with pleasure and beauty. The gods are much more interesting than the monotheistic god. These gods, when they want to make love, they can take the shapes of different animals to do it. So there's so many modern songs about stuff like that, but the gods can actually do it. Horses are super, super beautiful and healthy, so they would take that form. And the beauty also of the sun and the clouds together is amazing. It's rainbows and light rays and all kinds of things. So the Ashvini are extremely beautiful, and they're connected with a lot of pleasure right from the start. And there's many, many tales that show their intelligence and their efficiency First of all, they just perform one medical miracle after the other, and they're called the doctors of the gods. So, I mean, they do all kinds of things from cesareans on males to head transplants. They cure blindness here and there all the time. They restore youth. So talk about plastic surgery. They're like the ultimate plastic surgeons. And there's another interesting thing about them, which is relevant to their being the children of the sun and the clouds, is that it said in the Rig Veda that they are the ones who taught humanity how to get water even when there's a drought and there's no rain. They taught humanity how to irrigate and dig wells. The main story of the Ashvinis illustrates the horse's desire to run free, because the main thing that's going on with them is when they were born, Indra became nervous, as he always does. Became nervous because here's two beautiful princes of the sun. And Indra is supposed to be the king of the gods, but the sun is much more natural for that position, and maybe these princes will become the next Indra. They might kill him and take over his position or banish him like he did to Varuna. So he made politics to the effect that these two, the Ashvini twins, would not be allowed to drink the nectar that makes the gods so powerful. And now there's a two-part story to how the Ashvini managed to lift this ban, lift this embargo. Part one of the story starts with sage Dadichi, who also comes into Indra's tale as the origin of his thunderbolt. But Dadichi, he learned how to synthesize the nectar. He learned how to synthesize the god's nectar. Indra found out and said, if you teach anyone, I'm going to cut off your head. Then the Ashvinis found out and they said, teach us. And Dadichi said, but Indra said, he's going to cut off my head if I do. And the Ashvini said, this is not a problem. So what they did was they took off his head surgically, and then they took the head of a horse and transplanted it onto him surgically. Then he taught them how to synthesize the nectar of immortality. So this is also very important because the science of the nectar of immortality is the science of medicine. That's why they are the doctors. That's why the Ashvinis are the doctors. That's why the Ashvini Nakshatra has a lot of health symbolism to it and doctor symbolism to it. It's the science of medicine. It's the science of drugs. And it's the science of alcohol. How do you create special liquid that gives you power and makes you full of delight? That's the science of alcohol, drugs, and medicine. And that illustrates the Ashvinis. They know health, they know enjoyment. So after they heard this, they learned this science from Dadichi, then Indra became furious. And he came and he cut off Dadichi's head. But Dadichi's head was a horse's head. So after Indra cut off the horse's head, the Ashvinis took his real head and put it back in place. So at that point, they had knowledge of this synthetic nectar, but it's still not quite the same as the god's nectar. So they were still a little bit limited. And also Indra was still banning them from drinking even the synthetic form. So then something else happened, which centers on the sage Chavana. Chavana was a blind old sage with very strange eyes. And once upon a time, a very beautiful young princess, for some weird reason, saw the eyes in the dark and thought that they were these weird little bugs, and she poked them. And then when she found out it was a sage, she felt so bad about it that she said, well, as penance, I will marry you and take care of you. So there's this blind old sage, Chavana, and he has a beautiful young princess for his wife. So he calls the Ashvini and he says, make me a young man with perfect health and full sight. And if you do that, I will give you the real nectar, that Indra's real Amrit, his real nectar. So the Ashvini said, okay, boom. They made him youthful, and they gave him his vision and his full health and everything. And then the daughter's father performed a soma yagya, performed a soma ceremony, a nectar ceremony. And this Muni, this sage Chavana, he gave the nectar to the Ashvinis. As they're about to drink it, Indra shows up, furious, and pulls a thunderbolt up into the sky, with his hand, and he's going to cut off their heads. But Chavana is a sage, and he's very, very, very powerful, and he paralyzes Indra. So Indra's stuck like this. And then the sage demands that the Ashvinis be allowed to drink. And the gods agree. So finally the Ashvini lose their restriction, and they're allowed to become the gods that they really are. And so to recap, Ashvini is a star of freedom, speed, quickness, ease of accomplishing deeds due to intelligence and efficiency. It's a star of beauty, so it's a star of pleasure, enjoyment, youth, health, strength. So I hope you enjoyed this one. Don't forget, this is almost the last video that we'll do. We've done 26 of the 27 nakshatras so far. You can see them all on my channel. You can subscribe to my channel to get all the stuff that I do. I have a playlist of all the nakshatras. The next one up is Bharani, and that will be the end. So let me know your comments about your experiences with Ashvini. And let me know if you like this video, what other kind of videos you want me to make. Give me thumbs up and stuff like that. And I'll be super happy. See you next time for Bharani.